By special request, Molson Canadian Cold Shots. This was released in April of 2004. From the press release, small cell phones, miniature computers, even the reappearance of the miniskirt, all signal the rising consumer interest in things that are small. Small can be beautiful for Molson too, as it now offers beer drinkers a new way to get into the trend with the launch of the eye-catching 250ml beer can in Canada. You can't deny that can is eye-catching. You don't see them anywhere else. It was released as 3 brands. It was released as Molson Canadian, Molson Dry, and Molson Ultra. I've never had a Molson Ultra product, but it does kind of interest me as it's the only full percentage low-carb beer around. The beer is 6% alcohol, brewed here in Ontario. It is, again, a 250ml can. Molson had the exclusive use of the 250ml slim can for one beer season. I don't think I've seen any other companies with this slim can, to tell you the truth. 8.4 grams of carbohydrates, 120 calories per serving, and a serving is 250ml in this case, and again, 6% alcohol. Alrighty. This beer is a beer that I meant to review for a long time and never really got around to it. I was never really sure how to review it, because a lot of people had their own conceptions of what Molson Canadian Cold Shots were for. A lot of people may have had misconceptions about it. They may have been right, but I just didn't feel it was the way Molson was actually meaning for it to go. A lot of people call it a gimmick beer. I've read a lot of that online. I've seen a lot of that online on videos. To call this a gimmick beer is kind of funny to me, because they don't call craft brews gimmick beers. I mean, I'm a big craft brew guy, and most craft brews are gimmicks. Pumpkin beer is a gimmick. Chocolate beer is a gimmick. Anything that is differentiating from the normal beer world is a gimmick to try and get you to buy the beer. So, yeah, the slim can might be a gimmick, but is it going to get you to buy the beer? It just might. So, what? A lot of kids, and when I say kids, I'm talking younger people. This beer was aimed at the 19 to 24-year-old age range. It was a party beer thought. Chugging beer is what a lot of the kids thought. Shotgunning beer was what a lot of kids thought. I remember the first can of this I ever bought was at the duty free when I was on a road trip in the States. And there was a circle down here with some advertising, and a lot of the kids at my school thought that circle was to pop the can and shotgun it. That might be what we turned it into. I don't know really if that's what Molson was going for. Molson's always been fairly big on the responsible drinking campaign here in Ontario at the very least. Cans changed since then. I don't know if the can's the same as the rest of Canada or if it's just us that does not have that. They also made some bad publicity on the internet for an attempt at advertising through Facebook. It was a party school contest on Facebook where they wanted to have you show the pictures of how you got your party started, hoping that these were what we were using. They had a whole bunch of different rooms for different schools. Different schools could upload their pictures, and they were trying to rank you as party schools. Now, the problem with that was a lot of deans and stuff don't want their school to be thought of as a party school. A lot of the people in their graduate studies don't want their school to be thought of as a party school. But, you know what? Freshmen, sophomores, juniors, they're partying. Just let it go. It was a very innovative marketing idea. It's too bad it backfired. If it wasn't here in Canada, it probably would have been perfect. Truthfully, I give Molson credit for that. Molson is, right now, really big on using the social media sites to help advertise itself and get its name out there. I'm actually, as a person running a beer blog and looking for places to post my links and to try and get more exposure, I'm extremely surprised with how many companies are not using Facebook as what it is, a place for free advertising. I mean, I'm on there as the Albino Rhino beer review. I'm on there as well as Chad McGee, and I can barely find half the breweries I've reviewed. It's simple logic here. Facebook is an easy way to network and get your product out there and get your product name out there. You don't have to spend any money. You don't need a web developer. You just need somebody to post stuff and respond to other people's posts. So I'm amazed how few breweries are actually on there. Anyway, onto the beer. A lot of people thought these cans were for sneaking into places and for chugging, as I said, and for shotgunning. I can't really see them being meant to be snuck into places for the sole fact that these are pretty cheap beers. I mean, a 4-pack of these is $5 here in Ontario. Look at that head, look at that beer, lots of carbonation. Anyway, a 4-pack is $5, a 8-pack is $10, a 16-pack, $20. One of the few beers that I don't actually see an exponential drop in price as you go bigger. They're all just the exact same thing on the way up. But these beers are cheap. Sure, they're only 250 milliliters, but when you can get 8 of them for $10, or they could make almost $20 on a 12-pack of normal beer, they're going to want you to buy that 12-pack that they didn't have to spend extra time making, and they didn't have to spend extra time getting cans, because I've noticed with all my times working where I've worked that these don't get returned very often. So I couldn't see them being meant to be snuck into places. I mean, why would Molson want you to go and spend $8 on this at the beer store when they could have a bar spending $40 on Canadian at the beer store? They're going to want their sales on the bigger stuff more than this little stuff. I know that a lot of people have snuck this into schools and stuff, drank it in the bathrooms. Again, I'm sure not what they intended. But I can see how it can happen. I mean, you hold your hand right, looks just like you have a normal energy drink. Anyway, head's fading. Beautiful gold color, very gold. Head does have some viscosity, I really like that. Lots of carbonation. It smells basically just like Canadian. You got a lot of malt on there, you got a lot of hops, a very hoppy palate on there. I mean, it's what you'd expect. Taste-wise, again, beer's quite a lot like Canadian. Kind of watery for my tastes. It's exactly what you'd expect, though. I mean, you guys know what Canadian tastes like. I'm going to give it... This is stronger than normal Molson Canadian, but unlike Canadian Ice, this actually tastes really good. Well, not really good, but compared to Canadian Ice, this tastes amazing. Again, malty on the forefront, hoppy on the background. There's a slight alcohol taste on the very, very finish, but again, I'm not entirely sure how they brewed this up to 6% alcohol. I'm not sure if they just iced it down, if like what they did. It's very easy drinking. I mean, you can't really complain about it. It's not my cup of tea. I only reviewed it because I was asked to. I know I am trying to review every beer out there, but again, I only got to this because I was asked to do it. But there's nothing really wrong with it. Now, I know people will say, well, what are the uses of this beer then if it wasn't for chugging or sneaking into places? I actually find this beer to be fairly useful. 6% alcohol, so it is a stronger beer than a normal beer. Smaller can, sure, but still stronger than normal beer. I like to take this when I go hiking or camping, only because they're so small I can carry so much more of them in my backpack, and because they are stronger, it's still, because of the size, will take about as many for me to drink, but they're so small I can take so many more. Other things that they're good for, if you're going to make a clam eye or a beezer or even a chelada. I know chelada is normally Bud or Bud Light, but I mean, truthfully, why drink Bud when you can actually have a Canadian product in your chelada? Beezer is a Caesar made with beer. Clam eye is a red eye made with beer and clamato juice. So I mean, there's so many things you could do with it. It all matters what you think you can do with it. If you think it's a chugging beer, it's going to be a chugging beer for you. If you think it's a sneaking into places beer, it's going to be a sneaking into places beer. The reason I say it's good for cheladas and beezers and stuff is it's the perfect size. You don't have a bottle with this much left in it when you're done mixing your stuff. So I mean, for me, it's a perfect size for that stuff. Actually, the bar I used to work at that used to make a lot of cheladas and a lot of beezers, I wish we had these so that I didn't have all that beer wastage. And I mean, you could even lower the price of your cheladas then, because you're not talking about spillage and you're not talking about wasted beer. Not giving people flat beer either if you're working at a place where the owner wants you to save that remainder and put it in the next one. I mean, it is what it is. It's a small can of a Molson product. It is a stronger Molson Canadian. I've never tried the dry or the ultra. I really wish I could get my hands on those just to try them. But yeah, it's good for what it is. It can be used for several things. I mean, it's not something that I'm going to go out there and drink very often. It's not something I'm going to go and look for, because I don't really need it unless I'm having a party where I know people are going to be making beezers and stuff. But as I said, when I go camping, I love them. They're light. If I'm not going backpacking and I'm bringing a cooler, I love them too, because I can fit so many more of them in the cooler. There's so much less heavy things to bring back, and I can crush them up and just fill the cooler up again. But for what they are, they're fine. If you don't want to try them, don't ever try them. If you want to try them, try them. I mean, it's all up to you. Now, I'm going to do what I shouldn't do because it's not responsible of me, but this is what people thought this was for. I did that because that was requested of me of this video too. So, in conclusion, I'd probably give it a 6.5 out of 10. Truthfully, taste-wise, it's probably only worth a 6, but for price and versatility and percentage, I'm going to move it up to a 6.5. Thank you for watching the Albino Rhino beer review. Good beer drinking to all of yous. Have yourselves a very